Taurus, it's April 2019, Dadhichi here from astrology.com.au. Thanks for joining me. You know, a lot of the Taurians that I've known throughout my life aren't all that sociable. I'm not saying all, but a lot. But this month may actually be an exception to that. And you can see from the positioning of your ruling planet Venus here in this 11th house, in its best sign, Pisces, is definitely a strong indicator for more socializing. Here you'll notice also the triangular aspect to the North Node here in your third house of communication. This North Node actually has to do with the prevailing culture, sometimes unusual cultures. It's all about culture and also dealing with the karma of your communication and your thinking. Here we see this third house has a lot to do with the way you think. And the North Node, or Rahu, actually breaks the traditional mold of that, especially for someone like you who has more comfort in the tried and the tested for the most part. This connection between your ruling planet and your karma point in this third house of communications, changing things up, also echoes this recent transit we've talked about for a couple of months now, the movement of Uranus into your sun sign. That could be seen by most Taurians as a destabilizing force, or for those of you that are somewhat more in tune and perceptive, you'll see this as a very, very big karmic challenge to step up and fear not the changes that are coming your way. 3 planets here in the 11th house. Idealistic Neptune, communicative Mercury, that planet there in the trine aspect to the North Node, with Uranus in your sun sign, all indicating pretty significant changes, especially there in the social area. And it's positive. I don't want you to think that this is a negative reading at all. This is very, very fortuitous in terms of making you feel more comfortable. That's shown by the trine here, the sextile to Saturn, and also here, although it doesn't relate exactly to what I'm talking about here, Moon in the sextile aspect to Jupiter, all very favourable influences. Let me animate the chart for a moment. And we see straight away there on the 3rd of April, the contact with these sociable planets, 3 and 4. And then a bit of a low-key period there, just at the time of the new moon, which is very, very important in your 12th house. This has a lot to do with reappraisal of your life. So make use of these few days. You can sit quietly and reminisce and think about how you can best utilize all these energies here, this networking, social complexion that we're seeing in the chart, spirituality, this Uranus. That will be triggered right about there on the 7th when the moon moves into that conjunction with Uranus. But this 12th house stuff has a lot to do with resolving your past. We've talked about that as well in recent readings for you and some of the other star signs. 12th house has a lot to do with the secrets of the past. Interestingly, in Vedic astrology, it has to do with the next life. So from your horoscope, whatever planets are there and what aspects are being formed, we can see the transition from this dimension to the next and what's likely to happen to you in the next stages, whether you go to heaven, purgatory, if you believe that, limbo, hell, and there are many other dimensions spoken of. But anyhow, that's another story. Suffice to say that after the 7th here, when this conjunction with Uranus takes place, you're likely to do some radical things, and then that carries over into your financial area here with the moon making contact with Mars in your second house of finance. That is probably the first very difficult aspect that we see for the month financially. This 11th house is not just friendship, but it's also profitability. But let's say, for argument's sake, that there is a loan or financial connection with a friend. You have to be careful around this period. Disputes can arise, and this idealistic Venus may be in for a rude shock when the reality of human nature kicks in. Better times there around the 13th. Communications. You see how these planets work? Taurus, the moon was in a hard aspect here in conjunction with Mars. Then it moves into this slightly different phase of a trine aspect. So we see the difficulties ease off here with better communication around the 13th. 14th, 15th has to do with your family life, children. 16th, 17th. This is to do with romance, actually, creativity. And here we see the opposition to Venus. That could make you a little too nostalgic, a little hypersensitive. So you need to be your usual pragmatic self when dealing in relationships and friendships. We also see here that just a little earlier, should go back there if it's earlier, just there, back. I'm trying to catch that. There it is there, but I keep missing it. I want to catch that, but it's not doing it. Why is it not doing it? Looks like the thing's hung up on me. Anyhow, I was just about to say that this opposition here also has the square aspect from Mars around the 16th. So there could be some disputes and troubles looming at that time. Why is this thing not working? Let's just start that again and get back into the game here with the animation. Doesn't seem to want to animate. So around the 20, I'm going to just pause this for a moment. Hang on one tick. So there we have the right angle that I was trying to find. Sorry, I had to just restart the software. And that's the difficulty you may experience there. Losses of money, loss of self-esteem, being too trusting, so on and so forth. The 6th house transit there may also be a bit of a problem because it's the house of health and debt. And it is a full moon there on the 19th. And 20th. So we see the power of that full moon indicating a light being shone on your health, your debts, all of those things that are usually problematic. So you may have to deal with those sorts of things, and your health may not be all that good. Your psychological stability may also be thrown into turmoil as this full moon moves into the opposition of Uranus there in your relationship sector on the 20th, 21st. Better times there are shown from the conjunction of the moon to Jupiter in your 8th house of shared resources. But still you've got that opposition. So I get the feeling this month, if we were to tune into a theme, it might be related to money, sharing resources with friends, communicating what you need. Notice also here the very close conjunction on the 23rd of the Sun and Uranus, again destabilizing. So you may have a few hassles there after that really nice beginning to the month. Here we also see the transit of Mercury and Venus into the 12th house, the low-key part of the horoscope. This gives you a bit of time out. You're probably more than happy to just enjoy your own company. A bit intense here around the 26th with the moon transiting the other close conjunction of Saturn and Pluto. We talked about that last month, having to do with your belief systems, your philosophy, education, legal matters. The moon makes a brief transit over that, then into your 10th house of career around the 27th, 28th, where all things professional may be on your mind. Here we also see a better aspect to this transiting Mars in your finance sector, and then also the transit of the moon on the last couple of days of the month into the 11th house of profitability. That again goes to the square. So I've talked a lot this month about this kaleidoscopic up and down influence of the moon and Mars to your finances, friendships, and how that's tied in, and also the way you communicate with these people over these matters. Don't forget to stop in at astrology.com.au. There's more on this. We do a more detailed reading for you, and you should get that in the context of the year so you can see exactly where this is going before I come back around here next month for your May readings. And I hope you'll join me then. Take care. Bye-bye now.